All right. Let's talk a little bit about the market here. I didn't get a chance to talk to a lot of you even on the Sunday webinar because of the hurricane that was supposed to come that didn't. But let's rewind. We'll talk about last week and just quickly how things played out, because it's becoming, and you guys are starting to hear about it now, right? More and more people are starting to talk about now not even the options expiration and gamma runoff. They're talking about the front run of that. You know what I mean? So it's out there now. It's out there. Yeah, and that's what it always worries me. You know what I mean? It always worries me. It always worries me when everybody's looking at the same thing. And not that I would fade it, but I become a lot more hesitant to play off it. So I still think it's something to pay attention to, because there are a lot of important things up until that final week of expiration that we can take advantage of. But that week of expiration is going to be really, really interesting from this point on, just because of how many eyeballs are on it now. And it took them long enough. You know what I mean? It took them long enough. On the flip side, I saw, I'm not going to mention names, but people with quite a wide following that still were scratching their heads, blaming Powell for the market seeing some volatility on a certain week every month, not realizing it was options expiration. Like it was Houdini pulling the strings or something. So as much as I think I think it's obvious, maybe I'm overthinking things, but regardless, we saw how it can have a big impact on the market. All right, and the same playbook on the flip back, right? Basically, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today, because we spoke about up till the expiration date and how gamma comes off, and then it opens the window for some volatility. But now we're seeing almost, again, the same mirror image of the snapback rally and what it looks like. Okay, so you get the first couple days, right? We spoke about this, where breadth has been awful, all right, for a while in this market. The only period where breadth shows improvement, and it has again, is the first couple days off of this, right? So breadth for this part of the rally has looked solid. Okay, a lot of names involved: large cap, small cap, cyclical, growth, tech, this, that, the other thing, everything's involved, right? And it's misleading, right? Even to us, it was misleading at first, because we thought, oh, okay, is this where some of the smaller cap growth names participate, right? They're catching flow, they're heating up, or are these cyclicals taking a leadership role out of this little pull? But these pulls are so minor that it's just the same snapback rally for a couple days. So think about what we just saw, right? We saw a lot of the oversold cyclicals also catch a bid. Okay, growth in tech, right? You had Google's of the world, Nvidia's, AMD. Initially, they all participated as well. So it wasn't like they were rotating out of those names. And, what do we see today, right? And you never know how long it's going to last. I think that's the problem with this. Even though it's coming, you don't know how long it's going to last. I think that's the biggest problem we've been facing in these little, these pockets and sectors of the market, because if you overstay your welcome and the momentum is gone, that's it, right? You're stuck in a name that does nothing and drains premium for the rest of its life. So today we saw all these small, I don't know, what do you want to call them? Meme stocks? Are that many meme stocks? Reddit stocks, squeeze names, spec names, the shit of the shit I don't know, whatever label you want to put on them. But it's the same characters. It's the same characters. Clove, space, right? Express. Like, it's select retail names. I don't know where they come up with these things. Bed Bath and Beyond, Wish, right? It's the same cast. So, like, I love it. Don't get me wrong, especially for day trading purposes, right? You get in the middle of it, you can make some money. There's momentum. We know not to complain about momentum because there, a lot of times towards the end of a rally, there's no momentum at all. Okay, but we got to prevent ourselves from getting all gassed up and excited that all this crap is going to come back to life again, and we're going to go back into a market of, like February, a la 1999, and all have a party again. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And you know what happens if you get caught in these names, right? I mean, look what they look like. And how many times have we seen this, right? But look what they look like. So basically, this clove is always involved, okay? This was the outlier, right? But other than that, you get these pop, new lows, pop, new lows, pop, new lows, pop, right? And again, we don't have the crystal ball to know how much is here, right? How long it's going to last. That's the tough part, right? That's the tough part. But we know from experience, without a reset in this market, this is likely to become an ongoing thing. You know what I mean? An ongoing thing where you get these minor pullbacks, and the snapback rally looks like what we've been seeing the last couple of days. All right. So now we're right back to where we were. I feel like where we had the last Tuesday webinar, where I was talking to all of you, not just members. We're at a point now where you got to be careful of getting a little sloppy on chasing any green, especially in the indices, especially in names that have moved already significantly. You want to try to look for laggards, but those of you who like to play the indices in certain names, you probably want to, what the hell did I do? You probably want to look for dips and fades, and you want to look to take advantage of that, right? So is this it? Where am I here? What day is this? No. There you go, right? So when the market pulls, there's likely to be support and buying there, right? It's almost kind of like a tug of war again. And then, as the market tries to extend a bit, it's going to run into resistance, chop. All right. Now, there are times where there are forces out there, greater forces out at play that will override this. But being that we're in the dog days of summer, right? You're going to have the end of August, Labor Day coming up. That's usually a quiet week, light volume. Okay. These are the things that dominate. These are the things algos are trading off of and usually dominates the tape. I don't know exactly where we capped out on SPX today, but usually, again, not every single time, but usually you're going to find some resistance when they start selling into the strength. 44.92 on SPX. So there you go. That's SPX, right? You know what I mean? The wild card is Friday. Thank you, Dustin. Friday, we have Jackson Hole. Okay. Personally, what the hell do I know? But I don't think any fireworks are coming out of it. I don't think the Fed taper is the biggest thing cooking right now, to be honest. I think very quietly, what came out of China that actually really got this rally going was significant. And that was the PBOC making a commitment that they were going to basically support credit markets over there. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people were waiting for. They felt like it was only a matter of time. But once, it's almost like the Fed pivot when we get it here. And that was the catalyst for the China rally and a lot of these Chinese stocks, right? BABA, JD, and all these names. If you ask me, I think that had a bigger impact on the cyclical names and all the names that couldn't catch a bid, right? In my opinion, a lot of it had to do with China. I know the Delta variant and Powell, I'm sure, had some sort of impact. But in my opinion, I think what was going on in China and the slowdown there, possibly already spilling in the rest of the world, has had a greater impact on things, especially those names, those cyclical names. All right, so there was some really positive news to come out of China and the PBOC. And, we'll see now if there's any follow through to that. You know what I mean? We'll see. It's not going to be, it's not going to be something we miss. All right. What worries me, very simply, the contrarian in me, okay, is that everybody is so hung up on this reopening reflation trade. Everybody. I don't see too many people besides a Kathy Wood playing the other side, taking the other side of that trade. I really don't. I don't see it. I don't hear it. You would think you at least hear it. You know what I mean? People talking out of their ass and maybe not even putting any money behind the bet. But I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it anywhere. Everybody's all caught up on higher rates and higher rates having an impact on the growth stocks. And you want to be in value, you want to be in cyclicals, you want to be tied to the economy in the face of numbers coming out showing global economic slowdown. We saw another one today. The Richmond Fed was a travesty, and yields melting away. The reason I say that is you would think that would have an impact in forcing, shaking people out of that reflation trade. And even though we see it in the flows, we're seeing it in the flows. I'm not, everyone I talk to, everybody I hear on CNBC, everybody on Bloomberg, everywhere, you gotta buy the reopening names. You gotta look past the Delta variant, and you gotta, you know what I mean? Everywhere. Do you guys agree, or am I hearing things? Hey, do you hear? Everybody's on that side of the fence, right? I mean, for shit sure, there's nobody on the growth side of that trade. I know that. So even though we've been seeing in the flows players being shaken out of some of that trade, again, I don't think we have anything close to capitulation there, and that would make me feel a lot more comfortable until we see better price action, better flow, just look better in a lot of these things. All right. Now, on the flip side, though, I will tell you what's out there is that even though it's not an extreme, okay, on the flow side, you do have that growth / tech trade still under owned. You know what I mean? Considering the move in the NASDAQ from that point, you would think the way the money crowds these days, the way money just goes from one place to another in a flash of time, right? So quickly, and all of a sudden it goes from one extreme to another. They really don't like this trade. Yeah, you got hedge funds that are nowhere near this trade. Okay, and we saw in the Sharpie riffraff positioning on Friday, nothing really going on overall, right? They took hedges off, but the reason why the overall indicator showed they took hedges off is because they added to their NASDAQ long exposure, out of all things. Yeah. So, it's hard, if we want to be bullish, I mean, that's the place to be bullish. But what we want is we want it to start to spill over into mid cap, small cap, new names, that sort of thing, right? It's been a lot of the large mega cap names that have done well. And not that, not that I don't like those names, but just look at what they've done already. You know what I mean? Look at what they've done already. It's even off a little bit of a pullback, it's hard for me to get too excited about just buying, a couple day dip in these things. Like these things go down for 2 days and they're at new highs. Yes. You know what I mean? They're at new highs before you blink. Yeah, Microsoft, all those names. And see, the growth side of things, like this is defensive growth. This is what's going on here, right? This is not bullish. When they buy this stuff, it's not because players are all bulled up, right? It's almost like these names, exactly, they're hiding. They're like this day and age, they're the utility names. You know what I mean? They're the utility names. So, we want to start to see some risk on flows. That's what I'm talking about. We want to see some risk on leadership in where they start to find some of these new names, recent IPOs. We're getting a small batch of them, right? Small group of names. And it's been so difficult. The environment and climate has been so difficult to own individual names because you need so much luck to find success that it hasn't been worth it. Like there's been new names, this S, right? Recent IPO, and we have earnings get in the middle of it too. So that was another problem. But yeah, there are new names out there. There are definitely new names, but it's been very selective. The best of the action has been in the big guys. Yeah, I saw a BNB. I mean, I saw crazy moves in a lot of things that really didn't make too much sense to me. What was there news on this? Was there news on this? So random. And again, guys, the first couple days, and that's the point I'm trying to drill home, because if this goes according to plan, right? If this just is another round of a snapback rally off a wash, you're going to see that stuff really thin out. And you think it's random now? Like this is full participation. You go look at the breadth the last couple of days, you had a lot of participation. So what I mean by that is you could have played anything. Okay. You could have played anything. And, the luck equation of it was which one went up more. If it starts to thin out again, like we saw here, we saw the same thing here, guys. Same thing. Okay. This part of the rally, full participation. And then from that point all the way to here, you had to be Houdini to find out what stock, what group, what stocks, what anything would go up beyond that day. It was impossible. So we're at that point now. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Dustin, that's exactly it. The reason why, okay, the reason why we see the participation and all that, right? You get this move, right? And we saw what happened. Put the calls rise, VIX rises, you see sentiment, right? Start to go in the direction we want it to go. And you have players putting on all protection and hedging throughout this whole process. Okay. Once it flips, once expiration was gone, right? And they front ran it. So it happened on expiration Friday. Okay. Once people realized that this pull was all tied to Expo, they all have to take off these hedges now, right? All these hedges and protection, they have to remove those so you get that unwind. And what about all the people that spit up their long positions here, worried about something, right? They want it back. So they have to buy back, some of what they sold. So that's why you get, such a healthy looking move off even the smallest of drawdown here when you get that bearish activity, that hedging activity, and then gamma too, right? Same thing. Gamma low, as this goes higher, dealers got to add gamma, right? For hedging purposes. So all that goes into the equation here. And that's why you get such a healthy looking move. Even sweeper activity looks healthy because there's so many names involved. All right. Now let's see. Let's see now. Okay. Usually this is it. The little guys, that's usually the end, okay, of that full participation. Okay. May last a couple of days, but it's usually the end. All right. After that, let's see what the flow looks like and let's see what the price action looks like. Because there's a good possibility it's not going to look anything like what we've seen the last couple of days. So we can't get fooled. That's how you get stuck. You know what I mean? We've been through it, right? We've been through it. And, I'm coming to the conclusion now, maybe this is a contrarian signal in itself. The way things are going, right, on the sentiment side and positioning side with this market, I don't think we're getting a correction, guys. I think when we finally do get a correction, it's game over. How about that? You know what I mean? I don't think the correction's coming because we all want it. There's a ton of cash on the sidelines that wants it. You know what I mean? Every dip gets bought because of how much cash is out there, liquidity was. So what I mean by that is whether it's a Fed move or whatever it is that tightens liquidity, right? Or just there's no more of it, whatever it may be. When the market finally pulls, it's not going to be that joyous 5% pullback that everybody's salivating over. And another reason why we're probably not going to get that reset that we want is because every little pull down, every little drawdown, every pullback we get, players get hedged up out the rear end. So that tells you they're uneasy, right? You still have that uneasiness out there. Usually when pullbacks occur and they start to turn into correction, you got stubborn bulls who aren't worried. You know what I mean? Like, look at this. Come on. Right? So look at this. Every time, what do we have? A little pullback, right? And you got put the calls rising, right? And then boom, here you go. snap back, and they get washed out. But this is uneasiness, right? They get concerned. And then you have the index put the calls. Do I have it on here? Like this is the index put the call. Okay. Even with the rally, look where she is. Because of what we spoke about, right? Players are long names, but they're hedged. So that's got to give, that's got to give where they just chase and they don't want to be hedged. It's a waste of money. Yeah, or maybe exactly some sort of exogenous event that just happens overnight. You know what I mean? You get a flash crashy type event. I mean, it's certainly possible. Yeah, every time, Hussein, every time there's a little volatility, you always get that number net put delta that you need to see a bottom. All right, but other than that, here's a couple other things I wanted to show you guys. I basically mentioned them, but just so you guys see, we could talk about it here. Hold on. Here are hedge funds. Look at these guys. Okay. Here is where they were, right? And, you thought you'd chase highs. First little dip. Look at them puke. Goldman, I don't know if you guys saw that thing I posted from the Goldman Prime, but there was so much de-risking last week in that little weakness. You couldn't believe it. So many people taking off, so many players taking off risk. But look at hedge funds. Look, puking into the pull, right? So now this market went right back to new highs, right? And they gotta put back exposure, and that's where you see these sweeps in the option market. That's the quickest way to get exposure back on. I can't look at this. That's nuts, no? So basically, everything they bought here that we were getting a little concerned about, they just spit up into one down day, John. Yeah, definitely excellent buying. All right, so we'll see when this updates. How it looks. Here's the gamma chart. All right, so if you remember the last Tuesday webinar where all you guys were on here, we were talking about defending the zero level, right? There was nothing, we don't see anything in positioning that tells us, this thing is going to bust to negative gamma and pile on from there. It was just, there's nobody offside anywhere for that to happen. VIX, nowhere, right? We look at VIX positioning every week. There was no offside positioning. Look at sentiment. Sentiment has improved throughout this whole process of new highs. In other words, less bulls. Okay? So there was nothing telling us that this is going to break and snowball into something bigger. So, that was our edge, going into expiration, right? Betting that this zero level gets defended. Even if it gets breached, you get a huge snapback the next day. And that's what goes on in uptrends and bull markets. It always does. You know what I mean? It always does. They're always great entries. So this is what it looked like here. Never got there. Never got there. So we're here going into today. We'll see where we end up. But this is where it becomes a little bit of a problem again, because now, we're a little further away. So there's some room. But And we're coming up, September expirations even bigger. Holding the line. Yep, holding the line. I gotta get with it, Stephen. I gotta get with it. Here's what sector sentiment looks like. You know, something's coming close, not quite getting there. Semis, look at semis. That's where probably there was some hedge fund puking because there was some good looking action. And yeah, Soxel caught some action. LRCX, TSM, all the big guys. Yep, all the big guys. You know, tech, considering where tech is, I mean, Jesus Christ, neutral. You know, neutral. You know, the one thing that needed to cool off was financials, cooled off a tad. You know, energy has been a shit show. Didn't quite get the bullish signal. You know, but the cyclicals are, again, we're back to where, well, not quite, but we're close. I think you can get a trade out of them, but you got to be careful. You know, you got to be careful because everybody is on that train. Everybody. And you could get, what the hell? Oh, you could get caught in some of what we already are seeing. Chop, whatever you want to call it. Oh, I can't make it big. That's what I think gets it stuck. So here's the problem. You know, you're already rallied in a pretty decent way. All right. And the other problem is this, guys, you know, and this is the other problem. Okay. It's the opposite of what we were seeing with growth. Okay. You need rates to hang in there at the lead. You need rates to start at least grinding higher on that cyclical trade. You know what I mean? If this, and look at this, we've hardly even moved, which is crazy. But if this comes back down here, you're going to have those machines more than likely selling the shit out of all those cyclicals. Just like when rates were doing this, right? The machines were selling the daylights out of those growth names and buying cyclicals. You know, it's a pain in the ass that all this stuff needs to be paid attention to. But if you're frustrated and wondering why you've been stuck in a name, can't figure out the reasons why, these are the reasons why. You know, these are the reasons why. Yeah, and you know, I mean, again, we can't complain when you have a market that's rallied like this, you know, without a correction. You know, just it's logically it's going to get more difficult. You know, it's going to get spottier. You know, it's going to get spottier. It's going to get tough in individual names. Yeah, exactly. There. I mean, a lot of things. Think about the cycles we've been through. Like we've been through, there's been rolling bear markets under the hood. Forget about corrections, rolling bear markets. You know, rolling bear markets. So, but what I'm interested in, I'm interested to see, I'm fascinated to see how this plays out if there is no correction. You know, we're seeing signs like selective growth names come back to life. You know, like my opinion, if growth gets back in play, like for real, okay, we've seen parts of growth come back in play, but for real, you're not going to see these guys involved. You know what I mean? There may be a period of a couple days where they are, but it's not going to be these guys. You know, you're gonna start seeing new names, new leaders, real names, not just electric motor story. So, I'm interested to see if that's even possible for it to come out of a market that doesn't correct. I've never seen it before. I'm being honest with you. It usually starts from corrections. When coming out of a correction, that's where you see it. But, like we just said, there's been rolling bear markets and corrections in different pockets, right? So even though the indices haven't, growth certainly has. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that has corrected significantly. Like even the cyclicals right now, right? They're going through a correction. So I'm just fascinated to see how it plays out, because that's why anybody who tries to predict this stuff, you got to laugh at. This is all new to everybody. Nobody's seen this before. Nobody has seen a rigged market for this period of time before. So the next thing on the list anyway is Friday Powell. And hopefully there is some selling, right? We'll take it. We'll take it. What do you guys think? You think we could get some selling off it? Yeah. He's got to be scared shitless, right? No, the market doesn't care what we hope for. The market doesn't care one bit what we hope for. But, we got, today is Tuesday, right? I say we chop and grind higher till into Friday. You think we rally out of it? Wow. I mean, I'm saying wow, like we've never seen a rally here. I just, the reason I say that hype, if we went into Friday off of this, we would have an unbelievable setup. That would be quite painful. That would be quite painful. You're right. But what would be the pain trade would be Powell doing nothing, rates go lower, and growth rallies with the market. You understand? Not the cyclicals. But those of you who play ES don't care about that shit. Grind higher until OPEC September, right? Which is even a bigger OPEC. And I think if we get through like Friday, because there's nothing after Friday. Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. If we get through Friday, because like Friday's the wild card, you're probably going to see this. Right? That gamma buildup again into September expiration. But that's interesting, right? You got out in the public a short on ARK. There was a nice sweep in ARK. You guys saw that sweep today? Oh, I got this time. Yeah, $1 million sweep. Oh, like some of these names though, they like ARK doesn't look bad. You know what I mean? This looks really good to me. This whole thing here, could go for a lengthy period of time, but this looks good. This looks good. This is the innovation ETF. This is the main one. This is her big one. Yeah, right. There it is. That's the bet right there. Arc W is which one's this now? Is this the she's got how many of them too? Next generation. And then she has fintech, right? Nah, I mean Kathy, I wouldn't bet against Kathy. You know, I wouldn't bet against Kathy. I would not bet against Kathy. She's a Sharpie. And you know, right now, I think, and she admits it. She said it. I saw her in the when she was on CNBC. She said, I can't always draw it up this way, but I like the position I'm in right now because everybody is on the other side of me. You know what I mean? Everybody is on the other side of her. Everybody. Maybe. That's a good point. Without a doubt, Cash. Without a doubt. Yeah. But she's got a nice setup. And you know, that's why me too, I'm licking my chops on the growth side. You know what I mean? I wish we could see it materialize in the flow. We just got to be patient. You know, we got to be patient. Because we'll see it. We'll see it. We'll see them start to, you see, like our quarter, a really nice sweep. You know, you start to see bets like that really stand out in these things. And then you have the clues, you know, you have the clues, you have some evidence there. But you know, the reason why you want to be patient and wait for that, because you know, you don't want to get stuck in this crap. Yeah, I mean, Cash, if we start to see, you know, some really convincing flow in these in this area, I mean, how could we not? How could we not? You know what I mean? Like, it's either you think that the end game is here, everything did what it needed to do, and it's over, or you know, if there's any bull market left, I mean, these things have already corrected significantly. You know, we never seen it like this, right? We're not used to this. We're not used to seeing gigantic pockets of this market one by one basically crash. Yeah, we saw there was once there was a real nice sweep in this. A couple of people in the steam room caught it. That's when these things were hot. But not too long ago, this caught a little bit of action. This is a good looking name. There's a good looking name. You know, the problem that I seem to run into with flow in these names, every name that I end up taking liking to is software. Is that all there is? You know what I mean? It's always software. But I guess there's so many different types, right? There's so many different types of software. Yeah. You know, they're so rare. They're so rare. This thing didn't get out, right? MDB starting to lift a little bit. This still looks great, but you're going to run into earnings now. I think. Where is it? Oh, you got a little bit of time. September 2nd. Looks good, right? Got a lot of names. You know, the other thing too, guys, we had earnings, right? So that was the other problem we had, where we couldn't, you know, we couldn't get excited about anything. You know, every sweep was, you had earnings connected. Like, you remember this guy? We were talking about this guy, remember? Cash CDNS. Earnings here. So they bought it. I think it was this consolidation, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think so. I think that's where the sweeper activity came. And then you had earnings in the way. Didn't really do much off earnings. But so you had selectively, we saw some decent action in some of these names. We want more of them. S. What else? Any other new names you guys have on a list that you're eyeing on the growth side? UA, that's retail. Yeah, that's looked good for a while, right? Some of these retail names. There was some retail action out there today, John. I don't know what's considered a meme stock and what's not, but UA caught some action. Bed Bath & Beyond caught some action. AEO caught some action. I'm trying to think. There was quite a few other ones. Did you see anything in figs? No, I didn't. I'll check it though. Figs. I remember looking at this name, figs. That's nice. That's a retail name. Let me see here. Hold on. Figs. October. Oh, tied to stock. They were tied to stock. Twitter, Twitter looks good. It couldn't, had that little spill here where it was just dribbling every day. You kind of want to see those Elliott sweeps. I mean, it doesn't have to catch it, but every time it does, you guys know how it turns out. They bomb this Twitter. I cannot. Oh, there's the other new name. Okay, like this was the other new name, and I kid you not, but this was the other new name that earnings got in the way of. Okay, the sweep was legit. Look at this thing. And you know what's funny? I knew of this name before the sweep because there were a couple analyst notes on it, gassing it up. Goldman and Bova, loving the stock. And I never heard of it, the IPO before. And then there was a nice sweep in it, and you had earnings right here. I think earnings were like a couple days after the sweep. What a move, though. No, this is an IPO. I think, almost positive. Yeah, me either. Software name, I think. There's the sweep. There's the sweep. Look at you guys. You guys are on point. Like, look at that. Okay. Feb, 300 calls. All right. The stock was at 235. 235 cash. Right over here. And look at the wood. Look at the wood he laid there. $17 in premium. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Alvarez. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize like it was as well known as it was. But anyway, this is the type of shit I like. Like I see a couple of you guys talking about Intel. Like, I can't get excited about that stuff. Like, I'm not saying you can't make money in it, but I can't get excited just because there's so much flow in these names. You know what I mean? You don't know, the open interest is littered with positions. You don't know what's legit, what's not. Like, you really need to see aggressive opening activity in a name like Intel to be impressed by the flow. That's what I'm getting at. But don't get the wrong impression. There's definitely trades in the thing. Which one, Ranchero? Intel. Oh, there was news. I don't know if you saw the news with NVIDIA. They did something. Did you see that? You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah, there was news and then there was sweeps after the news. Supercomputer, something like that. Oh, AMD it might have been, maybe not. Oh, it was NVIDIA? Gotcha. Let me see. Puts. Were the puts March? Yeah. They look sold. I don't know how clean it is. We got to check open interest though to confirm all that. You know, there's so much action and like you look at the open interest in Intel, it goes 80 positions deep. Yeah. Remind me, I'll post the open interest update on it tomorrow and we'll see what it looks like. Maybe Intel get back in play here. Let me scroll up. You guys mentioned names. Hold on, because it ran by me. Love. Yeah, a couple of you guys mentioned this name to me, Love. This is not a SPAC, right? Please, no SPACs. You know, maybe one day SPACs, but not yet. Forget SPACs. IGT was interesting too today. November activity. I hate that it came into strength. But a name keep an eye on. You know, there was one November sweep in IGT that I liked. The other one was really cheap. Really cheap. What other names you guys got? I'm looking to see. Sometimes you guys introduce me to names that I never heard of. Yeah, UPST. Like, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? That type, those type of names. I see somebody mention PAGs. Tons of flow in this name. You know, it's not a new name. We all know it, but tons of action in this name. PAGs. You know, tons. It's like the fintech name, the fintech play of Brazil or Latin America, some shit like that. Apollo seeks to raise $500 million fund to invest in SPACs. So they want to buy up pick up all the pieces here, huh? Oh, maybe new SPACs? I'll take a look at it, Cass. Let me. Oh, I can't open. Oh, there we go. Wow. Huh. Apollo. Interesting. I'll read it in depth after this. Yeah. Maybe you. That's a name. Still looking for an entry, right? We got no patience. That's why, you know, we don't want to sit underwater in anything. You know, even to buy it and tuck it away. But yeah, well, maybe we'll get a dip again. But yeah, I like this name. Coop. Did they report? They report, no? I mean, this thing is, I can't believe the beating this thing caught. I think it'll be back. I really do. I don't want to jinx you into earnings, but you know, there were a lot of houses gassed up on this thing. Coop. This was a good stock. Path hasn't moved either, right? Let me see. That's a new name too. Why is it lagging like this? I can't take this thing. Yeah, doing nothing. And this is software? Damn. Why is it so dead? That's what's annoying, right? It's been a lot of the bigger guys Like this thing had a dip TTD after a nice run. There was some more flow in this TTD. You guys know this name. Kathy has a man. Oh, and Path, yes. FVR. Oh, yeah, yeah. Wait, didn't they get? Is this the one that's getting bought out? No, this is not the one that's getting bought out. Wow, look at that spot. Ooh, it's a nice spot. You know, I like that spot. Yeah. And you see, remember we were talking, like, I know most of you are option players, not equity players. You know, not even equity or option. It's been a stop loss. Make sure you utilize stop loss type of market. You know what I mean? That's what it's been. Because of it's been all the randomness. Yeah, you really don't want to get caught up too long and watch something bleed on you. Because these things, they go dead and they stay dead for a while, right? A lot of things. I tell you what would be my biggest fear, right, with the growth names would be that the crowd is right over the short to intermediate term, and you get rotation, rates start going higher, and you get rotation out of these growth names into cyclicals. You understand? Like that's the risk. And that can very easily happen. No, that could very easily happen. That's the problem. That's the problem. There's no way to avoid it, guys. There's no way to avoid it. Like, look at what's some of the sharpest players on the street are running into that problem. Like nobody thought this dip in energy was going to be as troublesome as it was, right? Energy was hot, but it's not like it's been running for 6 years. But because of the rotation, it's frustrating, Adobe. It's still catching action, this Adobe. I think it just caught a sweep, right? The other day again. Like, this is what I mean about the large caps. Like, what do you want me to do with this now? What am I going to do with this now? You know what I mean? What do you want me to do with this? Yeah, I can't. I can't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, he's right, though. He's right. That's what you do, right? That's what you do with these. I guess that's right. There's something for everybody out there. That's what you do with these. But these names are. Oh, another name that I like. You got earnings in the way though. This thing. When do they report? Tomorrow. Tomorrow, right? That looks good too. This is a Ranchero stock. Ranchero, you own this? Oh, you got earnings. CRM. Looks good. Right? Goes into the mega cap, blah, blah, blah. It's in the Dow now too. Yep. No quality, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, well, the easy money came and went, with this name. There was a period of easy money over here for a while. Look at this thing. So Trading View and Zoom don't agree on my thing here for some reason. I don't know why, but look at this. Yeah, this used to be a go-to name or sweeper activity. Go-to name. MasterCard, that's frustrating, that stock. Look at this. What a mess. Niner. What a mess, though, Fish, huh? And honestly, I thought this would be a name they would go into. Square too. Yeah, I mean better than MasterCard, but choppy, yeah. And PayPal too, right? Go figure. Now, how do you figure that? How do you figure that? What's the reasoning behind that? I don't think anybody is, Fish, so don't feel bad. This is a name they keep knocking the door on. Coin. Right? It would be in the category of a new name. I mean, you kind of, Bitcoin's running and this thing's not running. Yeah, put it in the doesn't make sense column. Right? You would think Bitcoin was the risk in this name, and Bitcoin's been running, and this thing got stuck here a bit. But yeah, Coin, they've been buying this name with time. There's been some good looking sweeper activity with time. Oh, Visa Niner too, coming off a Niner. Devin, that's a nice sweep with time there. You know, there's so many of these energy names that, like, you have so many to pick from, honestly. Fang, Devin, MPC, all the big guys are in these names. Oxy, what's that been up to? Oh, they're tough. You know, let me sum it up like this, right? And again, it could be just me. You know, maybe others are finding it easier out there. You look at all these things, right? Everything we're talking about, and you know, the best entry on all these names, you know, come off a little wash in the overall market. Yeah, and that was the cleanest spot. You know, you try to wait for that. You know, you want to be aggressive, play off the anti-VIX. You know what I mean? Because it's likely going to get tougher now after this move. You know, like I'm looking like even these are Decembers though. So one, you got time and you could be patient. But you know, this thing already, this is a nice run already. What is this, $4 off the low? ATVI, not doing anything. Jesus Christ. God. Take two too, right? They all look like mashed potatoes. LVS, yeah, there's LVS flow, but LVS is like almost like Intel. You know what I mean? There's so much action. You don't know, you know, how much conviction's behind it. But this was trading on China. You know, so you had that news out of China with the PBOC and all these names. Boop. You know, and then we saw Baba flow. Remember? Well, that was yesterday. Was that yesterday? I can't keep track of the days. There was some Baba flow off it. Look at it. That's another disaster. Look at these stocks. Kathy dipped her beak in JD. She sold it and she couldn't stay out long. She saw the earnings, I think. You know, but this, guys, I don't care what anybody says. Okay. Like forget about the S&P 500. That's in a world of its own, right? We already come to that conclusion. But all these names, we're like, ugh, eek, ugh. They're all stuck or look like shit. Like, look at this. I think this is the problem. Not just Chinese names, cyclicals, even energy. You know, is this over? Or maybe even an intermediate term rally? You know what I mean? Even a rally in a downtrend, loosen up the reins a little bit on some of these things. Because if this does this, I don't see those cyclicals doing anything. Yeah, there's a lot. You know, again, you got half the market that isn't tied to this stuff, but half of it is. Oh, but nobody, not nobody, because if you watch Bloomberg overnight with the Asian markets, European markets, they talk about it all the time. But here it's all about the taper and all about the COVID. Nobody's talking about China, but that could be the biggest problem. They let us out and they got headaches right now. You know, do they come in and rig the game? That's the question. And when? That's what it's going to come down to. You know, that's what it's going to come down to. Yeah, probably. But you could almost watch this and get an idea, you know, of how the cyclicals may act. Maybe that correlation breaks, but that's been the case for a while. You know, look at this thing, Las Vegas Sands. Like, this is a bath, right? This is a disaster. What about all these other names? Have you guys looked at these? Caterpillar? They're not doing much, right? All these stocks, they're just chopping around. They're just chopping around. Look at this. Yeah, testing the pandemic lows. GM, that caught a little bit of flow with Ford today. Oh, man. Yeah, that steady bleed. Niner oversold. Maybe get a little rally for a week or two. Look at this. Yeah. But you see, you guys just made the perfect point with this stock. Like, this is what everybody was bullish on. You know, the market continued higher, but all these names, look at this, right? They bought GM, the equity, and they bought SPX puts to hedge, and they caught a bath. Yeah, Sharpies. The only thing going on in Sharpie land right now is they are long this. That's the only thing interesting. They continue to be long NASDAQ futures. That's it. They're hedged. Well, they took off some hedges last week, but they've been hedged everywhere else for the most part. You know, so they're sticking with this. Long NASDAQ and hedged in the S&P. So they obviously want, you know, tilt to NASDAQ names. PSFE. But that's what's going on in Sharpies. You know, nothing in volatility. There's nothing anywhere else. So if you're looking to play all Sharpies in some way, you lean bullish NASDAQ. PSFE. Oh, yeah. He's a little guy. SPAC? This is a SPAC, right? Oh, no. Was a SPAC? Be safe. Yeah, they were spec action, but they did hit it pretty hard. D-SPAC. D-SPAC. Amazon had a decent little bounce, right? For a couple of days. Yeah. Netflix has looked good. Nvidia's a beast. Now, this is another monster. Here's another monster. Big guy. Remember the sweeps in this name? GME. GME AMC caught the action today. There were a couple sweeps in GME. Look at that. Unreal. Crazy moves. Google still catching action. Look at this. Look at this stock. This. You want to know where all the money, right? Well, where's all the money going with the market up every day? Look. Tesla been catching a little action here and there. Nice leap bet yesterday. SE, it's another beast. What else we got here? RNG, what's that been up to? Hasn't done anything? No, still down there. ADSK, this thing's a beast. Look at this. Deck, anybody still holding on to Deck? MDB, we spoke about. Still didn't even wake up though. URI looks good. These are all the big names. Boeing's been getting a little play. Anybody have any interest in Boeing? Boeing. You got these. I mean, these are trades, There's been some flow. Might be able to get a trade out of it. Roku off of earnings. See if I can find a bottom here. They sold it off earnings pretty hard. I like Roku. IWM. Here we go again. This is the same old story. Look, right? I got deja vu, like we just went through this. They're still short out the eyeballs in IWM. Right? So you had 1, 2, 3, and then it got choppy. Here, probably gets choppy. We'll see what happens post Jackson Hole. It's the only thing left in the way now, Jackson Hole. You really got nothing after that. Do you? What's after Jackson Hole? Late September stock market crash. Let's see what else we got on this screen. Beyond caught some squeeze flow today. Maybe that could squeeze too. You got some room on these things. I mean, I'd rather day trade them. SWKS, this caught a little action too. CRWD. Anybody play the earnings run up? Who was I talking to? Somebody was playing them off the sweeps. That's a nice, you guys, whoever I was talking to, who was playing off those sweeps, the earnings run up for a week. I mean, wow. Did you catch a break there, huh? No earnings yet, and you caught an earnings like move. Yeah. Jesus. I hope whoever bought them still has them. It's only a couple of days. ZS, another monster. You know, the rich get richer. Look at this. These are all the studs. NXPI has looked better as it's a cyclical semi, but doesn't look too bad. How's TXN look? These are the semis that are having a little tough time right now. And they're not awful. It's just chop. I still think this AMD gets, I know it got hot, but something tells me this thing is not done. Am I nuts? I know this was a pretty big move. 125, you think, Ron? I mean, this thing could get really hot. There's not much left to buy that hasn't. But yeah, AMD, interesting, catches flow every day now. What else we got here? Oh, they were buying some biotech recently, and today HZNP. It's a good looking name. HZMP. I remember this thing so much cheaper. What names did you guys throw out here? Dash. Let's see, Dash. Yeah, it looks interesting, Dash. Caught a nice sweep the other day, too. Dash. Does. This PLTR catches a ton of action, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? It's hard to get a read on this name because it's in the riffraff club. You know what I mean, with all those stocks. But it looks okay. It's just, it slowed it up. I think it's more of a tuck away name, Tuck it away. It's tough to trade it. What about this? This had a nice wash the other day. Snow. Right? What a nice comeback that was. Oh, SE, you guys are throwing the torch at me, huh? You guys are talking SE? Oh, good. Wow. What could have been? What could have been? What could have been? They print their own money, this company, yeah. Shop, quarter sweep. We're seeing sweeps and names that never catch sweeps, all these big guys. But yeah, I look through these names every night. Every night. I curse them out, Try to see if something makes sense. It's just, and I find the common denominator in all the big winners, they're just big. Amazon, yeah. And that lined up nice with the rally too, early on. The Goldman sentiment indicator, negative second week in a row. Yep. Later, Nick. That's the thing. Sentiment's not a problem at all. You know what I mean? Oh. Sorry about that. Match, another name that can't get out of its own way. And I saw a couple of you guys cursing that name out recently. Match. Bumble. I like this Bumble. What else we got? Any other names here that we haven't looked at? Deck, URI team, Roku, we looked at. Caterpillar, we looked at. This thing, let's see, still, oh my God. You guys know this name? Paylocity? You never heard of it? This thing's a beast. Software. Beast. Doesn't catch much flow though. Qualcomm, we saw a little bit of flow. Can Qualcomm get hot? This was a name. Another interesting name, software, GWRE. Did they report yet? I don't think they reported yet. Qualcomm cyclical semi, probably, right? That's probably the problem. Probably the problem. That's most likely the problem. You're right. Cyclical. I just thought maybe it'd be big enough. You know what I mean? Big enough to like Oracle. Oh, that slowed down too. But you're right. Qualcomm may be too cyclical. What a disaster, right? We got to pay attention to this crap. D-Dog. Buy dips in D-Dog. D-Dog's a good stock, no? I tell you, Hussein, usually this LRCX off a niner, you can, it's hard to do wrong. It is cyclical though. Speaking of cyclical, WDC. Yeah, look at this. STX. Yep. Micron. Yeah, Fastly had a little action. Good squeeze. Squeezing a little bit. Squeezing a little bit. Squeezing a little bit. Now, listen, if we could draw it up, right? I hate to sound like a broken record corny, right? But off any sort of weakness, right, is where you need to find the opportunities. It's hard to be patient, especially in this market. You see things run for consecutive days, but you got to try to wait around for, fades if you're playing intraday, wash, a down day, and look for the sweeper activity into those red days or red stocks, because you get a lot of forced buying, right? We spoke about the hedge funds. They puked up into the weakness, so they got to chase into strength. That's a lot of the buying we're seeing. On down days, that's where the real buying shows up. And playing off the anti-VIX is the way to go right now. You don't want to hold overnight. You don't have to. Did any of you guys play? I know a couple of you played off it, but you guys day traded off the anti-VIX signals. What'd you guys do? I know Matt shorted VIX. Where's Matt? Weekly SPY, nice. Now, did you hold any overnight or did you just day trade? Nice. Day trade, which ones? What do you mean time bombs? Oh, you day traded SPY, you're saying? Gotcha. Yeah. There were a couple nice signals. I day traded them all. I didn't hold any overnight. I wish I would have held the last, one of the last ones overnight. I was hoping, and I think Fish, we spoke about this. I think, was it you I was talking to? I don't know if it was you, but anyway, we wanted one more, of course, selfish, greedy. We wanted one more anti-VIX signal and to swing off of, if you remember. You know what I mean? Because tactical sentiment didn't quite get there. Oh, okay. I forgot who I was talking to. All you guys look the same to me, Friday. Yeah, Friday was the day. Friday was the day. I was hoping to get one more pull on Friday. But yeah, that's the way to go. Money managed properly. So the one time where the music stops, I was waiting for somebody to make a remark like that. Figure Ranchero. Don't worry about the one time the signal fails. There's going to be one time it fails. But as you guys can see, the majority of them are decent entries. STNG sold his calls. I think he had leaps. That thing took a bath. I'm sure the economically sensitive. Nah, it could come back. What a piece of garbage. This used to be a good stock too, off action. Now it can't get out of its own way either. But you talk about cyclical fish, forget it. This, you don't get any more economically sensitive than this. And you know what's weird? I posted this on Twitter last night. I don't know if you guys saw this. Oh, why does it look like that? This is the Baltic Dry Index. Look at that rip. Jesus. But yeah, exactly. Yep. All right, guys. Friday, again, I don't think it's anything huge, but I think here's the thing. Remember, like the election, right? We had that started off the rotation, growth into value. Some events like that have a tendency to really start off, some big rotation out there. So exactly, hoping for some weakness. And then I think post Jackson Hole is where a lot of critical info is going to come from. Yeah, September scares the poop out of me. I'm not going to lie. Always does. Always does. Yeah, always does. Well, we'll see. Like I said, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to be pushed and convinced into, doing something a little more on the aggressive side. I'm happy that I haven't, obviously, because I'd be pulling my hair out of my head. But I'm just hoping the sky's clear a bit, But in the meantime, we look to play off anti-VIX and do our thing, grind it out. All right? Yep, I'll keep you guys posted. Enjoy the rest of the night.